Shalom, shalom, shalom. Call Yahweh by Shema Mashak Shah. Call Yahweh by Shema Mashak Shah. Brother Jose coming at you again with another video. Fisherman for Zion back on the scene through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah. All glory and honor to Yahweh by Shema Mashak Shah. Don't count this as a light thing to do. Giving all glory and honor to Yahweh in the name of his son Yahweh Shah for another day in the land of living, another day in his truth, knowing our nationality, our heritage, laws, statutes, commandments that he's bestowed upon us, grace and mercy that we don't deserve, through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah, called Yahweh by Shema Mashak Shah. All glory and honor to the Most High, you know, for another day to reverence and magnify his holy name. Peace and blessings to all the saints scattered abroad. Peace and blessings to all the camps, congregations, and those that are not in camps and congregations. Peace and blessings as well through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah. Peace and blessings to the elders and the leaders in the nation of Israel, standing 10 toes down through all uproars and folly and madness that we have to go through to be servants in this land of captivity in these last days, and to show that we are witness unto everything that the Bible speaks of, all of the prophecies that the Bible speaks of. Peace and blessings to all households, the wives and children. I'm not trying to be before you too long, but Lord willing, this is edifying, giving all glory and honor to the Most High, through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah, preparing for the new moon, the ninth month, through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah. If you're keeping it, if you're observing the times, the seasons, and things like that, peace and blessings, Lord willing, you keep it to the best of your ability, and you are in the spirit of what the Lord commanded us to be in, observing these high holy days and these feast days, these Sabbaths, and being in a spirit of joyful and gladness through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah. So nevertheless, new moon, according to we keeping it sundown tonight through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah. Lord willing, it's prosperous in his sight through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah. But we getting into this, not trying to be before you too long, Lord willing, but not quenching the spirit. We're gonna be touching on what season are you in? Are you in a season of growth, or are you in a season of demolition? Are you in the season of building, or are you in the season of destroying? Because you have to be aware of what season you're in the spirit. You have to be aware of the footsteps that you're moving in and the spirit that you're in. You have to be aware of the things that you saying to people and the things that you're listening to. You can't just go on in your life and just live your days and not examining, not building yourself up. Even if you have a spouse, you don't want to be in a season of not building your spouse up as well. Just going through with the day and going through with emotions. That's not what Christ, our Heavenly Father, Hamashat Yahweh Shah, that's not what he wants us to do. We have to be in observation of what season we in, because if you planting something, and normally when you plant things, you don't plant things in, according to agriculture, you don't plant things in the dead winter when you got snow outside. You don't plant things in the winter time. In the winter time, nothing is being planted. Nothing is being sprouted up. How things are in the dead summer. Deep in the dead summer. So the same way we have to be in the same mindset and the same spirit of seeing, what is really going on in our spirits, deep inside of our spirits and our mind and our thoughts on things that we put in and take out. Because if you're not learning and if you're not growing, you have to be aware of those things. So we're gonna get into it real quick. Before we get into that, we're gonna open up, with one of the precepts that I always like to meditate on. So let's go to Psalms chapter 122 through the spirit of Yahweh Shah. Psalms chapter 122. Psalms chapter 122, and it reads, Psalms 122 and verse 1. And it reads, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord Yahweh. So, all praises to the Most High that we're able to have the mindset to read the Bible, to have the mindset to pray, to have the mindset to fast, to have the mindset to do the things that we can do for the Most High in righteousness, forsaking our flesh and the cares of this world, doing things according to his word and how it is written, making sure we're examining our spirits, making sure we examining the things that we take in and the things that we put out, So reading this again, Psalms 122 and verse 1. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord Yahweh. Our feet shall stand within thy gates, O Jerusalem. So we able to stand within, all of the things that the Lord allows to be able to stand in, and Lord willing it, we standing in righteousness to the best of our ability through the spirit of Yahweh Shah. So let me get this right quick. Let's go to Mark chapter 4, because we have to be aware of what we dealing with and how we dealing with things through the spirit. So if you have a season where you're just dealing with nothing but chaos and folly and madness, if you ever get a chance to depart from that season, you got to rebuild. If you in a marriage and it's nothing but abuse, it's nothing but chaos, it's nothing but madness, whatever the outcome is, that you have to regroup. You have to get your spirit back to a place where you can still love again, where you can still you know be be at peace with one another. If you have a child that has not been around their parent, if they ever get a chance to rekindle that connection with their parent, hey, you got to rebuild. You can't just come back together again and say, well, it's back to how it was. It's a reconnection that you got to hit, you got to meet. If you leave a job for a year or 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever, you gotta be in the spirit of, hey, you gotta get back to how you supposed to have things being done. Just like if a basketball player was in college and he goes to the NBA, hey, things are not going to be the same. You going up another level, So when you walking in the path of following the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, as we understand Yahweh, as the world uses the title God, and Yahweh Shah as the world uses the title Jesus Christ, according to the Paleo Hebrew, we understand that when we follow the Most High, it's not going to feel good. Things aren't going to always go how we want it. Things aren't going to go strategic how we plan things out. So we have to be aware of that, and we have to plan and execute. And if anything goes the opposite of what we plan, hey, we have to be ready. So you have to have your spirit ready for such things. Hey, when you plant a seed outside in the summertime, when it's the season for planting, hey, these plants and things, they perform according to how much water they get, how much sunlight they get. So if you're not getting enough water in your spirit, if you're not getting enough sunlight in your spirit, certain things are going to happen. Just imagine if a woman is in a marriage with a man, he's doing up but tearing her down. How is the woman going to react? Or else if a parent is doing nothing but abusing the child, how else is that child going to react after years and years and years and things like that? Just imagine if you just eating bad foods, you drinking sodas all day, eating honey buns and potato chips. You're not putting no fruits and vegetables in your body. You're not drinking no water. Just imagine what's going to happen to your body you know so you have to be aware that our spirits and our minds are the same way. What's going to happen if you don't read? If you don't meditate on the Most High's word? What's going to happen if you don't pray? What's going to happen if you don't fast? If you don't fast and cut down these demons, these wicked spirits that leech on to you, leech on to your mindset, try to take away from your wisdom, try to take away from your knowledge, try to take away from your understanding, try to take away from your peace of mind, you know, and everybody deals with spirits. So you may have a spirit in your house that may try to pull you away from the Most High, may try to pull away from your wisdom, may try to pull away from your knowledge and understanding, or you may have a spirit on the job, or you may have a spirit, somebody messaging you all the time on the phone. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the flesh, you know. So let's go to Mark chapter 4, and I'm gonna start at verse 3. Mark chapter 4 and verse 3. Hearken, behold, there went out a sword to sow, and it came to pass as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came and devoured it up. So don't always expect when you try to sow something, that it's gonna automatically do what you want. It's a lot of things they may try to hinder that, you know. Verse 4, Mark 4 and 4. And it came to pass, as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came and devoured it up. And some fell on stony ground, where it had not much earth, and immediately it sprout slocky, and immediately it sprang up, because it had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. And this is a parable that Yahweh Hamashiach Christ was going into, also symbolizing that, a lot of things that we go through in our day-to-day lives, in our marriages, on our jobs, and our finances, whatever it is, whatever the case it is, which is, you can apply this to modern terms, to actually what's going on today in our lives, in our individual walks. You always have such things as things are going to happen. So you're going to have your faith tested. You're going to have things tested in your marriage. You're going to have things tested in your child, your life with your children. You're going to have things tested on the job. You're going to have things tested in your body. you know so you got to make sure putting this word in, and you applying these words, these precepts, these Bible verses, these laws, statutes, commandments, no matter what, when everything seems to be good and when everything seems to be bad. you know Mark chapter 4 and verse 6. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no fruit. And other fell on good ground, and did yield fruit, that sprang up and increased, and brought forth some 30, and some 60, and some 100-fold. And he said unto them, he that had ears to hear, let him hear. So if you can understand what the Lord is actually saying in this parable, understand and receive. Mark 4 and 10. And when he was alone, they that were about him with the 12 asked of him the parable. And he said unto them, unto you it is given to know the mystery of the kingdom of God power, but unto them that are without, all these things are done in parables. So he was expounding upon the apostles, and at the time the disciples, what he was actually going into, because he, couldn't just give it directly, because he knew all things. Christ knew all things. So going down to Mark chapter 4, and I'm gonna start at verse 14. The sower sowed the word, and these are they by the wayside, where the word is sown. But when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts. And these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground. When they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness, and have no root in themselves, and so endure but for a time. Afterward, when affliction or persecution arises for the word's sake, immediately they are offended. And these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things entering in, choke the word, and it become unfruitful. So it may be a season where you may not be bringing forth fruit. It may seem like things aren't going the way you want it. Your finances, things aren't going the way you want it in your marriage. Things aren't going the way you want it in your health. You've been in the gym. You've been eating clean. You've been eating no meats, your fruits and vegetables and things like that. So it's all up to the Most High at the end of the day. But at the same time, you don't want to give all of these things so much strength. You don't want to give so much hope into anything else besides the Most High. Because your hope and your faith and your trust, everything, just basically all your strength should be into the Most High. And as you grow and as you get older, and as your faith increase, which it should be increasing, and as you begin to elevate more in following the Lord, you know you got to understand that, you know you can't just follow the Lord based on results that you want to get. you know so you got to understand that, you can't just follow the Lord based on results that you want to see, because you may not see no results. The Lord may have it where you may not even see no results, but that doesn't mean you're not going. That doesn't mean you're not on the right path. So you may be trying to figure out why this ain't going the way I wanted to go, why this ain't going the way I wanted to go. Because you focusing on the wrong thing. Just focus on the Lord. you know so let me get this right quick. You don't want to lose sight of the kingdom of heaven. because that's the most important thing, regardless. Because if you worried about finances, and if you're in a season of trying to build up your finances, you got to understand that this place, hey, America is going to go down. So if you put so much effort into debt, you don't want to disappoint yourself, because paper money isn't going to be a thing forever, nor is stocks and bonds and RIAs and crypto and things like that. Now we understand we got to take care of our businesses and do whatever we got to do to provide for our households, but we want to be balanced, and the first priority and the foremost and the highest and the foundation should be having our faith in the Most High, having our houses and our spouses and our relationship predicated on the Most High, you know, believing and trusting in the Most High as well. So let me get this right quick. This is First Thessalonians chapter 5, and I'm gonna start at 1. First Thessalonians chapter 5, starting at verse 1, and it reads, "But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, you know, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night." So why did Paul say you have no need that I write unto you? Because you should already be in the mindset and know and being aware that Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, who the world calls Jesus Christ, he's gonna come back. You gotta trust and believe that. And if you don't trust and believe that, then you gotta observe and look at what it is that you believe in and trust in. And if you're around somebody that doesn't observe that, you gotta keep your distance, because they may try to always persuade you, that's not the time to do this, don't worry about that. So we have to be aware of what Paul is saying through the spirit of Shah, that the Most High allow him to be able to have the spirit to really give us. So he said, you have no need that I write unto you. You can't really count the days and the times and the hours on when the Lord is going to go back. It's like come back. You can go according to prophecy. You can look at prophecies, and you can, pinpoint certain prophecies up, link things up, and say, okay, all right, this is what's going on. This is Second Ezra 15. Hey, we living in these times. We living in the times of Nehemiah and Ezra building up the temple, building up the walls, tearing down these idols. We living in these times. We living in the times that Jeremiah spoke about. We living in the times that Daniel said, hey, you know, we gotta understand that the times and the seasons was changed, by the hand of the wicked. So we gotta be aware of, we understand prophecy, but at the same time, we don't know the day, the hour, if it's gonna be winter or if it's gonna be summer when Christ is coming back, the Messiah. Let me get this in Acts right quick. This is Acts chapter 1. This is Acts chapter 1, and I'm gonna start at verse 6. And it reads, "When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel?" So they was asking the apostles, they was asking before Christ actually got beamed up and in the chariot, to the third heavens, before he was about to leave the earth. They was asking him, they was like, hey, are you about to bring the kingdom now? Are you about to restore the kingdom now? They thought the kingdom of heaven was about to come now. you know so he said, verse 7, Acts chapter 1 verse 7, and he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father had put in his own power. So he said it's not for us to know the day, the hour, the minute, the second, the month, the year. But what should we be in awareness of doing what he told us to do, to keep the commandments, watch and pray, exhort, admonish one another, love one another, build one another up, continue to be in the word. you know Men gotta work, teach their children that, and teach their wife, and women gotta be submissive to the husband, as the man is submissive to Christ, and again, and then Yahweh Shah submissive to the Most High Yahweh. So we have to be in awareness of the things that we can be aware of, not just sitting back and waiting, and then just trying to figure out if we're gonna get tired of waiting, or if we just gonna continue to just wait, looking at the watch, looking at the clock. It's a lot that we gotta do, and what it's a lot that we should be doing, you know, predicated upon while we're waiting on the Lord, you know. Let me get this in Isaiah right quick. So, we got to be aware of what season we in, because we can be aware of what we dealing with, you know. If you always talking and if you always you know, just on the opposite side of, if you always on offense, and you don't want to play no defense, you don't want to listen, you don't want to study, you don't want to put things in, you got to be able to bring things in as well, So let me get this right quick. This is Isaiah chapter 40, and I'm gonna start at verse 30 29. Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 29, and it reads, He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increaseth strength. So the Lord wants us to increase as well, because a lot of us have weaknesses. Everybody has weaknesses. Everybody has. I got a weaknesses. I got a weakness. You got a weakness. And if you don't, you deceiving yourself, because every man falls short. That's Romans the 3rd chapter, verse 23. All have come short of the Most High's glory. So there's many things that I can work on, that I can increase, that I should be in observation of, and you as well. There's things you should be aware of that you need to increase. But if you just always want to teach, you always want to rebuke it and cut down and not examine yourself, you don't want to be in that spirit, because like in the book of Sirach says, it's one that teacheth many and unprofitable to himself. You don't want to be unprofitable to yourself. You want to have a solid foundation, rooted, anchored, and grounded in the Most High, in the faith of believing and trusting in the Lord. Because it's gonna come days where things we've seen, and right, we see things now that we may not be moved and wavered about, but it's gonna come a day when it's gonna be things happening that we never seen. We never witnessed certain things, so we have to be in awareness of that, you know if you about to have a child for the first time, hey, you've never experienced sleepless nights where you have to deal with a crying child, a child that's really can't tell you how they feel, really can't tell you what's going on. That may be something new to you. Or if you're dealing with a certain type of pain in your body, where you always been healthy, you never had pains, you may not know how to deal with that. Or if you're dealing with a if you're a man dealing with a woman that's totally different from how you ever dealt with your mother or your sisters or things like that. Hey, that may be something new to you, so it's something to learn. It's many things that we can learn. you know Isaiah 40 and 30, even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young man shall utterly fall. So hey, even the youth, like the Lord said, will faint. Verse 31, but they that wait upon the Lord Yahweh shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. So we looking forward to the day where we gonna mount up like eagles' wings, to the day. We looking forward to the day where we get the laws, statutes, and commandments put in our inward parts. We looking forward to the day where we don't have to worry about seeing our brothers and our brothers and our sisters strung out, doing bad, you know. So we looking forward to the day where we see the kingdom of heaven, you know, and we looking forward to the day where the Lord raised the whole nation up, you know. And a lot of people, they not in that. They not in that spirit. They not in that season, you know. They may be lost somewhere, got their mind on something that is basically a stronghold. You don't want to have the spirit or the mindset of not in observation of the kingdom of heaven, man. You could be in a relationship where that relationship could pull you away from the Lord, or that man. If a woman dealing with a man, that man pull her away. Now she don't read no more. Now she don't pray no more. Now she don't fast no more. She don't want to cook how she used to cook. Or a man maybe dealing with a woman. He don't read no more. He don't teach no more. He don't go into the precepts. He don't try to hide and duck off and go into his secret place, go and pray and fast, So you have to be aware of what season you in, because a lot of things in this world may try to, slowly tear you down. You once was right here, and then now you seem to be right here. So you don't want to be in that spirit, because it's a time for everything. We're gonna get into the precepts, and it's a season for everything, and it's always a time and a place for everything. You know, so as the days grow more and more, go on more and more, we're not gonna be able to get this time back that we lost. You can't get time back that you lost. So time is the most precious thing that you can basically have on this earth, you know. So if you just let the days go by where you're not trying to build yourself up and get stronger in your faith and get stronger in your foundation with the Lord, then days are gonna come upon you and you ain't gonna be ready for them, you know. Just like a player, just like somebody that plays in the league in the NBA, they're not gonna play the same way they play in the regular season. They're not gonna play that same way in the playoffs. They're not gonna take practices off in the regular season like they do in, you know, it ain't gonna happen in the playoffs. You know, they're not gonna just miss games in the playoffs like they do in the regular season. Load management. They just taking games off. You know, and when you in these evil days, and when these evil days come upon us, hey, you ain't gonna have, you might not, you're not gonna have the opportunity to fast and try to get your spirit right. You know, just imagine you just going off when all hell breaking loose. You basically don't care. You basically just like the rest of the world are wicked. You out there trying to kill, you out there trying to rob, you out there trying to snatch somebody and drag somebody in the woods or something. You know, when these days come up on the whole land, the whole world, hey, that's it. All of the work that you wanted to do, all of the going on the highways and byways teaching the Bible, if you're in a camp or a congregation, or if you go out and do the work and seal the hopeful elect, you ain't gonna be able to do that in those days. It ain't gonna be no I wish I would have been able to do more for the Lord. You just sitting in some dark room or some abandoned building trying to get yourself in a secure place so you can be safe if you're on the move, if you're not at a FEMA camp, or whatever the case may be. You ain't gonna be able to do these things, you know. Or if you're thinking, oh, I wish I would have treated my wife better, or I wish I would have, did what I had to do with my kids better, or I wish I would have taught my kids better. I wish I would have taught my kids about these days that we living in, you know. So hey, there ain't no work, no device in the grave, you know. If we give up the ghost before the second coming of Yahushua Mashiach, or if whenever these days come upon us, if we still in the land, you know. So let me get this quick precept right quick. This is First Thessalonians chapter 5. So if you're in the time where you're dealing with people that just don't care about the most high, you know, you got to think about it. How is that how are you in the spirit? How are you if you're around these people that don't care about the most high, they don't care about the law, statutes, commandments? First Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 1. So like I wanted to get Second Timothy. So like this is the book of Second Timothy. And I'm gonna start at verse 3, 2 Timothy chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 1, and it reads, This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. So you got to be aware of more wickedness being on a higher level. you know a year by year, more wickedness being on a high level. So it's going to be to the world, things are going to be normal according to how much wickedness is being out there. That's going to be the new normal, especially as the days grow more and more, as we get closer to the second coming of Christ. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 2, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. So all of these are things that we should be watching for. We should be in awareness of, you know. is my spouse like this? Is my brother like this? Is my mother like this? Is my sister like this? Am I like this? You know, so hey, these things are going to happen, as we get closer to the Lord returning, you know. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 3, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God power, So hey, all of these things are what we're going to be seeing and what we don't want to have attached to us in these last days, you know, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. From such turn away, for of this sort are they which creep into houses and led captive silly women, laden with sins, led away with divers lusts. So hey, even more as you read this on down, it's going into how things are going to be as well in these last days. Men dealing with wicked women, wicked women just, fulfilling their lust, and even men fulfilling their lust, So we don't want to have this spirit, and we definitely don't want to be in the sense of how things are being approached according to the spirit that we in, you know so let's go to Ecclesiastes right quick. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1, and it reads, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So it says to everything there is a season, you know. So hey, don't just act like things are just normal. Don't act like days are just regularly moving how they supposed to move. So you should be in the spirit of preparing every day for the second coming of Christ. Every day that you get to see that the Lord gives you, that's a day to build your spirit up. That's a day to prepare yourself to get stronger, you know, because hey, you got a season of growth, you got a season of adding to that growth, or you have a season of demolition, you know, or you have a season to try to rebuild that what was destroyed. And demolition, that's basically the same thing as destruction, you know. So usually when companies just tear down their company, they send a crane in or bulldozer and start tearing down. They may not have plans to rebuild. They may not have plans for reconstruction. It's probably just getting torn down, you know. So that's the same way if we not in the spirit of growing in the faith. And then if you ain't got no faith, you basically just gonna do whatever you want to do and you don't believe, you know. If you ain't got no faith, you may go into a relationship with somebody and may not even care what happens. May not even care if that relationship is going to still remain strong when World War III kicks off. You may not care if that relationship goes left or goes right. You know, if you ain't got no faith, it's a lot of things that can go wrong. And if you ain't got no faith towards the most high, it's definitely a lot of things that can definitely go wrong. you know if you ain't got faith, period, if you don't believe in the Lord, because a lot of people, they'll keep a lot of people, especially in the nation of Israel, they'll keep laws, statutes, commandments, just so nobody won't say nothing to them, just so nobody won't point them out, but they really don't believe in that, man. you know This is why it's gonna come a day when all our works and all the things that we believe in is gonna be predicated upon us. And even so much so faith, faith is a big thing. Let me get this right quick in second Idris. Let me get this right quick in second Idris. This is book of second Idris. And it's important right now to have the time that you have to ask the Lord to increase your faith. If you're not asking the Most High to increase your faith, you know, just imagine what would happen if you lose everything. You know, if your car break down, you ain't got no transportation. You don't know how to fix the car. You ain't got no money for the repairs or nothing. Just imagine how you gonna be moving, shaking, and what spirit you gonna be in if you don't believe in the Lord. Do doing whatever it is that you may ask for, you know. You may not even ask the Lord to help you. You may not even try to pray because you don't believe, you know. So this is Second Ezra chapter 9 and verse 7, and it reads, "And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning." You see that? So, faith is big. Faith is really something that you want to increase. And if you're not in the spirit, if you're not in the season of trying to build up your faith, asking the Lord to build up your faith, you know, then when a lot of times, when a lot of things approach you that you never even experienced before, it may put you on a bad spot, on a bad foundation. So let me get another. Let's go to James right quick. James chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 14. James chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 14, and it reads, "What doeth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him? For a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, Depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doeth it profit? Even so, faith, if it had not works, is dead being alone." You see that? So, faith goes a long way, because a lot of the times the things that you do, you doing it because you got faith and because you believe, and also you doing such things, you know, to build up your faith as well, you know. So, that's the mindset that you want to have. Let me get this in Galatians right quick. So like I'm gonna drop that. Let's go to Romans right quick. The book of Romans chapter 10. It's the book of Romans chapter 10, and I'm gonna start at verse 17. Romans chapter 10, starting at verse 17, and it reads, "So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing the word of God power." So if you never been in a position to lose something or lose a child, and you can go to Abraham's account of him trusting in the Lord when the Lord tested his faith, tested and see if he believed in him, by offering up his son. If you never experienced uh loving your brothers and sisters, and going through such harsh things, there's many accounts in the Bible that tells you, you know, that if things happen to you for you doing good, it's counted for your righteousness, you know. So you have to be on the mindset of hearing such things as well to help build up your faith, because the Lord can do that. So let's go back to Ecclesiastes through the Spirit. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And I'm gonna start at verse 2. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 2. "A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted." So it's always a time to plant something, and it's always a time to pluck up something, you know. Because if you're not planting anything, you're not gonna be looking forward to anything coming up and being grown what you planted. Ecclesiastes 3 and 3. "A time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance." So it's a time for things to be killed, it's a time for things to heal, and it's a time for things to be broken down, and it's time for things to be broken. It's a time for things to be built up. You know, so we got to have that mindset on how we approach our spiritual needs and how we approach things that try to take away from our spiritual needs, you know, and things that we give to others as well, and that should be the mindset. So let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 8 right quick. I'm gonna start at verse 5. Ecclesiastes chapter 8, and I'm gonna start at verse 5. And it reads, "Whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing, and a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. So we have to understand that if we keep the law, statutes, commandments, we not gonna feel no evil thing. That doesn't necessarily mean right then and there nothing bad is gonna happen to us, because we understand Acts 14 and 22. Through much tribulation, we shall get the kingdom of heaven, enter into the kingdom of heaven. Many trials and tribulations, many testings that we have to pass, many things that we have to go through to purify us as gold, service of the Lord, as a man if you're a man, and as a woman if you're a woman, and as a child if you're a child, so many things, we're gonna have to go through, to pass these qualifications, and I'm gonna jump down to verse 11 through the Spirit, verse 11, and it reads, Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse 11, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. So even if we fall short when we do things, just because the Lord doesn't judge us right then, you don't want to have that mindset, and you don't want to try to prolong and make this a whole season, whether it's a year, whether it's months, whether it's weeks, to continue to just doing things in evil and wickedness, just because the Lord may not bring judgment on you right then, you know, just best believe that, hey, the Lord sees everything, Verse 12, Ecclesiastes 3 and 12, though a sinner do evil 100 times and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear God power, which fear before him. See that? Verse 13, Ecclesiastes 8 and 13. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before God power. So you want to have respect and honor towards the Lord, regardless if you see results, and regardless if you don't see results, regardless if things look good, regardless if things don't look good. And you want to keep doing what you got to do for the Lord. You want to keep teaching. If you teaching, whether you got views, whether you don't got no views, whether you see things happening, whether you don't see things happening, whether you see people leaving and coming, or whether you see people going, so you want to continue to fear and honor and respect the Lord, because best believe the angels are watching, the Most High is watching, so you don't want to try to put an agenda in front of you to where you don't want to do things no more for the Lord, to where you don't want to do good things to others. If somebody does bad to you, you got to say, oh, I'm gonna do the same to them. You don't want to have that mindset, just because the Lord ain't gonna repay them right then. Don't carry that same spirit alone, so let me get this in Ecclesiastes 12. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, and I'm going to start at verse 14. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 14, and it reads, for God power shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So everything that we doing, whether it be good or whether it be evil, the Lord is counting that. The angels are counting that. All of the days that you prayed, the Lord is counting it. All of the nights that you cried, all of the times that you gave to others, and even though you gave and it wasn't, you didn't even have that much to give, the Lord is counting that. So you got to stay in that same season and continue to build. Don't take away, continue to build. Because it may take you 2 years to get an increase on increasing your faith. It may take you 2 years on you treating people better. It may take you 2 years on getting to another level with the Lord, on how you following the Lord. It may take it, you don't know. We can't say, oh, well, it took me 2 days to get right, but we don't know what the Lord is taking away. If we fall short, because we all fall short, so we got to continue to build, and we don't know if 2 hours from now we're gonna be here or not. So we got to have that mindset of being in the season, being in a consistent, good work of making sure we doing what we got to do for the Most High, to the best of our ability. If somebody do wrong to us, We got to look at that person like, okay, this is the Lord testing me. So, hey, let me do right by them. And it may take you 3 years. And we a nation of people that, you know, our flesh gets in front of us first, which we already know that according to the word, the Lord's word, the flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. You know, you may have always had people that try to bring the worst out of you, you know. So your first instinct may be to do wrong to that person or to, you know, do something to get back at that person, you know. So it may take you a long time to get to a place where you can try to be at peace with that person, even though they doing wrong. You know, it takes a lot. That takes a lot of work, you know. So if we got a spirit, or if we in a season of showing rage and wrath, you don't know how long it's gonna take you to get to a point where you putting that behind you, you know, or even if you in a season where it seems like you can't stop smoking, you know, even though you may hear it's wrong, even though you know it's wrong, you may still have these urges in your flesh to continue to do that. So it may take you a long time to break that down, you know. Or if you've always had a issue with how you how you go about such things in your marriage or your relationship with whoever, you know, whether you're a woman and you have a man, or whether you're a man and you have a woman, you know, it may take you a long time to stop talking and just get in the mindset and get in the ways of listening to your spouse, your opposite, you know. So hey, you may have to learn that. It may take your spouse having to show you that. They may have to say, well, you know, it's some things I don't like. You know, you never listen to me. You always want to talk. You know, you never want to listen to what I really gotta say. You never want to really understand how I feel. You know, that's a big thing with men, you know. So you may be a mighty teacher in the Bible, but you may not be a mighty husband, you know. So it took you 4 years to become a mighty man to be able to teach the Bible, but it's going to take you four more years to become a mighty teacher and become a mighty husband. You know, you can't hit every corner in 1 year, in 2 years, and 3 years. And then if y'all have children, now you got to become a mighty father. Now you got to continue to maintain teaching the Bible. Now you got to try to maintain being a good husband, and then you got to try to maintain being a good father. That ain't easy at all, especially when you're in this captivity, especially when you gotta work, especially when you gotta provide. You gotta remember to pay bills. You may have to work on your car. You may have to work on things on the job. You know, you gotta may have to keep things up and around the house if your woman goes down for 6 weeks for child labor. You know, C-section or natural birth, whatever it is, and you got to try to hit all these marks. It's so much that we can work on, and so much that we have to work on, and that we should be working on as men and as women. You know, even women, they have things that they can work on. You know, not all women are submissive. You know, it may take a woman 6 years to be submissive. She may be in with her husband for 5 years, because everybody ain't found out about this truth yet. Everybody doesn't understand that we are Israelites, so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It may take somebody 6 years to learn how to be submissive, you know, because every woman haven't had a mother in the household to show her that. You know, every woman hasn't had a woman in the household to show them how to cook or how to clean or how to prepare such things in the house. You know, so if you're in a season of just doing what you want to do, you missing the mark on where you're supposed to be meeting. You know, because the Lord set the foundation for us to follow. And if we're not following that foundation, we can fall into the traps and the snares of things that Satan wants us to fall in. So let's go to Romans right quick. It's the book of Romans chapter 2. And I'm gonna start at verse 5. Romans chapter 2, starting at verse 5, and it reads, "But after thy hardness and impotent heart treasures up unto thyself wrath against the day of wrath." So I'm gonna read it one more time. Romans chapter 2, verse 5. "But after thy hardness and impotent heart treasures up unto thyself wrath." So a lot of people, they can store up wrath unto themselves. You know, if somebody in a relationship do something wrong, they may hold on to that, and they may put a block in the way of them loving that person how the Lord wants them to love that person. Or if you're in the congregation and a brother do something to you, and you just seem to you act like you forgave him in public, but you really haven't forgave him in your spirit. You always keep it in your mind, you know. So you got wrath stored up, you know, and then you never know when the Lord can call you. You never know when the Lord can take you off the earth. So you got to keep that in mind and see, hey, what season am I in? Am I holding on for grudges and wrath for 2 years? You know, that's 2 years. 2 years that you didn't want to grow. That's 2 years that you decide you want to give power and glorification and victory to the spiritual demon Satan. You know, your woman did something, or if you a woman and your man did something 2 years ago, and you still didn't want to put it aside, that's getting in the way of you being submissive to the Lord. You know, you being meek, you being humble, you know, you loving. Matthew 22:37, you know, verse 38 and verse 39. The fulfilling of the law is showing love, giving, you know. So it's not always that we have to receive all the time. You know, oh, I do so much. I cook, I clean, I pay these bills. You know, I'm the best she ever had. I'm the best, or if you're a woman, I'm the best he ever had. You know, that can get in the way of you really doing what the Lord had called you to do. And the Lord wants us to serve not just how we serve him, but he wants us to serve others as well. Because we never seen the Lord in the flesh. So if we never seen the Lord in the flesh, you know, and you acting like that towards your brothers that you can see on a day-to-day basis, we got a lot to learn and we got a lot to actually grow by. You know, we actually got a lot to grow by because we haven't had these examples how the apostles had. The apostles actually seen Christ in the flesh, so they seen how they supposed to treat others. They seen how Yahweh Shah, Hamashiach, the Messiah, treated others. But we coming from single parent households, we coming from no father figures in the house. We coming from looking towards rappers and singers and actors and celebrities to give us the example. So we missing the mark. You know, we don't know how to treat our wives. We don't know how to teach and treat our daughters as men, and the women, they don't know how to treat a man because they father only came around, you know, just to give him something. And then he kind of leave again for another year, another 6 months, you know. So it's a lot that we have to learn, and we have to be in a season of righteousness, not just temporary. You're only doing something good for somebody because, you know, it's a feast day or a holy day, or you're in the spirit of giving. You know, you have to continue that consistently because we don't know when the Lord is going to pull us. We don't know when the Lord is going to pull them. We don't know who the Lord is going to send to test us, you know. So right here, we can't have wrath. You know, we have to try to apply the word to the best of our days and our minutes and our weeks and our hours, building ourselves up. You know, don't always be in the mindset of you always got to give something, you always got to say, you always got to give, you always got to do. You gotta put in too so you can build yourself up. You know, reading this again, Romans 2:5. But after the hardness and impotent heart treasures up unto thyself wrath against the day of wrath and revelation of the righteous judgment of God. So the Lord can reveal certain stuff to you according to, you know, certain judgments. Verse 6, Romans 2:6, who will render to every man according to his deeds. So that you always got to have in mind the Lord is going to give you according to what you planted, what season you was in, what spirit you was in, on how you was taking things for granted, and how you took advantage of certain things. Romans 2:7. To them who by patient continuance in well doing seek for glory and honor and immortality, eternal life. So if you're in a terrible relationship, it may try to pull you away from really putting on your binoculars on looking straight towards the kingdom, you know. So you may have a relationship that all it brings is stress, you know, and you can't get a divorce, and you can't leave, you got to stay there, you know. So you got to figure out how you can benefit such things out of this relationship, and what you can bring to this relationship, and what can you do, because the Lord is going to judge you for what you doing. You looking at them saying, oh, this is the excuse why I'm doing what I'm doing. You can't do that. You can't have that mindset. Or you may be on the job saying, this is why I can't pay my bills, because this and this. You're going to get judged on what you doing, not what they doing, because the Lord gave you the wisdom, the Lord gave you the knowledge, the Lord gave you the understanding, the Lord gave you the mindset to be where you are and doing what you're doing now. So you got to capitalize off that. If the Lord gave you $100, you can't say, well, I needed 500, and you just doing whatever with the $100. The Lord gave you $100 to do whatever it is you got to do. And you say, I really need 500, So just because you ain't got what you felt like you needed, because the Lord said in Isaiah 50, the 55th chapter, Isaiah 55, that his ways are our ways and our ways are not his ways. So we got to get in the mindset and get in the season and get in the spirit of doing what we can do for the Lord, and whatever we can do for the Lord to the best that we can do, even though we may not have everything we feel like we need. My spouse ain't like this, so this is going on. My job ain't like this, so this is going on. My car ain't doing what it need to do, so I can't do what I need to do for the Lord. You got to do whatever you got to do what you got to do, to the best of your ability, because the Lord ain't waiting for you to get $1 million and then you say, well, I got everything I need, so I'm gonna serve the Lord. I got all the money I need, so I'm gonna give. What are you doing with the little bit that you have? You can pray for somebody, that's free. You can fast for somebody, you can go on a fast. Hey, you can actually, if somebody's in need, you can give, $1 worth of canned foods or some socks. You can't just say, well, I didn't have enough, because if that's the case, then the Lord wouldn't have put us in captivity. The Lord wouldn't allow us to be at the bottom. He would have kept us on top, and say, all right, I'm gonna see what they're gonna do since I put them on top. What was we doing when we was on top? When we was on top, we was doing wicked. We was evil, serving other gods. So, hey, you can't use it as an excuse. So now we on the bottom. We got to try to get back on the top. Because when we was on top, we was serving idols. We was lusting. We was covetous. We was going against all of the commandments. So reading this again, Romans chapter 2, verse 7, to them who by patient, continuous, and well-doing. So you got to continue to do well. Don't just do well because your woman kind of in a good mood. And then when your woman kind of, flip the switch and start acting bipolar, you start reading the Bible, So, hey, we can't do that. So it got me on a time schedule. Saying I got 1 minute and 50 something seconds left. I don't even know if I ever seen this, but we're going to keep going on. We're going to have to hop back in, Lord willing. And it says, to them who by patient, continuous, and well-doing seek for glory and honor and immortality, eternal life. So you got to be seeking eternal life, because you got to know that at some point, some moment, all of the time that you had, if the Lord showed you how much time he gave you to grow, to increase, to be in a season of serving him, serving his people, serving his love, his whole nation, you probably would be confounded. You'd be like, I had that much time and that's all I did. We don't want to have that mindset, So let's get Psalms. I'm gonna go to Psalms right quick. Psalms chapter 119. And I'm gonna start at verse 1. Psalms 119, and I'm gonna start at the top, and it reads, blessed are the undefiled in the way, who walk in the law of the Lord Yahweh. So the Lord said, blessed are the undefiled, So you can't use a excuse saying, oh, this person had me do this, just like Adam did, just like Adam said, oh, Eve was the one that deceived me, and then Eve gave an excuse. Oh, it was the serpent that beguiled me. So the Lord said, blessed are the undefiled. Don't use an excuse to try to say, oh, this is why I'm defiled. You know, my family celebrating Christmas. This is why I'm over at my folks' house, because my mama had me come over here. Yeah, we can't say that. What if the Lord come back when you partaking into paganism? You know, so like I'm gonna try to get this back on through the spirit. If it let me come back on, so like I was live on another channel. So yeah, what if the Lord come back when you got caught up in the peer pressure? That ain't gonna be a good sight at all. That is not so like bear with me. I'm trying to put this back up. If the Lord come back and you just doing whatever it is that you want to do because you was in a bad relationship, the Lord he ain't trying to hear that. He ain't trying to hear that. So like I'm gonna finish this. I don't know why they had this come over like this. So like So yeah. So going back over this again, so like I had to come back in because they gave me a time schedule and they cut me out when the time got to the point where it was. So going back over this again, this is Psalms chapter 119 and verse 1. And it reads, Blessed are the undefiled in the way who walk in the law of the Lord Yahweh. It didn't say who come up with excuses, who make excuses. You know, you only had $100, but you did this. You only had $50 left, but you did this. The Lord said, let me get this in Isaiah right quick. The Lord said, his ways are not our ways, and our ways are not his ways. The Lord gave you just about everything he can allow you to have. This is Isaiah chapter 55, and I'm gonna start at verse 8, and it reads, For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, said the Lord. So we gotta have in mind that the Lord, if the Lord was for one, if the Lord was around, will we be acting how we acting? Will we be doing how we doing if the Lord was actually around us, in the flesh? But more so he is, because if he was in the flesh, it would be a limit to what he can see, because he would go to sleep, and then once he go to sleep, you probably be moving a little different, and then once he wake up, you probably be like, all right, he woke, so let me don't do that no more. But he actually can see everything now, because he got his angels. They don't have flesh, they don't get tired, they don't yawn, so they see everything we doing, counting everything we doing, you know. So let me get a precept on that. Let's go to Matthew. Everything we say, everything we whisper, everything we think about. This is Matthew chapter 12, and I'm gonna start at verse 36. Matthew chapter 12, and I'm gonna start at verse 36, and it reads, But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give an account thereof in the day of judgment. You know, so you really telling the Lord how much you hate this, how much you hate that, how much you don't like this, how much you don't like this. You know, everything that you say to any and everybody, and everything that you think about, ain't nothing being withheld from the Lord. You know, let me get another. This Job. So like, let's go to Job chapter 42. Job chapter 42, and I'm gonna start at verse 2. I'm gonna start at verse 1. So this is going over after Job was in realization of, hey, the Lord can see everything, the Lord can hear everything, the Lord know our thoughts, the Lord know everything. This is Job chapter 42, verse 1, and it reads, Then Job answered the Lord Yahweh and said, because the Lord was asking him, hey, where was you at when I laid the foundations of the world, when I made the moon, the stars, all of the spirits, when I done all of this creation? Since you think you a righteous, mighty man, where was you at when I laid the foundations of the world? Job 42 and 2. I know that thou canst do everything. So he said, I know you could do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me which I knew not. So, hey, the Lord see everything. The Lord know everything. So there ain't no tricking, there ain't no hiding, there ain't no running, there ain't no scamming, there ain't no lying. Hey, we gotta understand that, and we gotta move in that spirit. And once we start moving in that spirit, it's certain things that, hey, we can continue to fear, respect and honor. Because if you, even when you're on the job, you working, you taking time, you're doing this, and you kind of just comfortable. But then when your boss man comes around, you just, oh snap, you just act like you're working so hard. And then when your boss man leaves, you just breaking all the company policies, man. What company policies are you breaking when it comes to the Most High's business? The Lord told you to speak, and you just saying, I'm gonna speak tomorrow. And then tomorrow come, you like, I'm too tired. I'm gonna speak the next day. And the Lord, hey, give you another day to see. You say, I'm gonna speak the next day. The Lord, hey, when He comes back, He's gonna show all of us all of the policies that we've broken, and all of the codes that we went against, all of the misconductions that we had. We didn't have on our apparel, we didn't have our mind right, we didn't have our spirit right. The Lord is the same way. Don't think your job is the most uh cautious that you got to have, man. You just observing every code and trying to make sure you're not breaking every code, but then when you clock out, yeah, like the Lord ain't watching. The Lord see everything. Let me get this precept in Psalms, the book of Psalms, chapter 1. Psalms, chapter 1, and it reads, Blessed is the man as well as the woman, because it's not just only a man, on this earth. Psalms, chapter 1, verse 1, it's a woman too. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standing in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. So the Lord said, blessed is the man that don't give his strength over to those that ain't even following him. You literally trying to get advice from people that don't keep the laws, statutes, commandments, that hate the Most High, that eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, that you getting advice from men that shave their beard. You sitting here giving all your time to all of these lectures and things on the man trying to tell you how to make money, a man trying to tell you how to be a millionaire in this society, and you taking counsel from him. And now you taking strength away from following the Lord, because you trying to give your strength to the society. Not saying we can't be rich, not saying we can't be wealthy in this society, but first and foremost, we have to always go before the Lord, because the Lord may not want you to be rich. The Lord may not want you to be a millionaire. So first and foremost, you may be in a season where you're trying to make so much money that you don't even have the faith to where if you lose that money, it's lights out. You don't want to serve the Lord no more. So a man that has faith, that doesn't waver, hey, and even if he becomes rich, hey, it's nothing wrong with that man being rich. Hey, he gonna make sure he look out for other people. He gonna make sure he do what he got to do for his people. He gonna make sure he do what he got to do in righteousness. you know. But if you in a season where you ain't got no faith, you got so much faith in trying to get this money, and then once your money go down, then you ain't even moving the same no more. You don't want to have that mindset. So the Lord said, blessed is those who walk not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standing in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. You see that? So let me get this quick preset right quick through the spirit of Paya Bashim Shah. This is let me see what I want. This is Proverbs chapter 13. And I'm gonna start at, let me see where I want to start at. This is Proverbs chapter 13, and I'm gonna start at verse 8. The ransom of a man's life are his riches, but the poor heareth not rebuke. The light of the righteous rejoiceth, but the lamp of the wicked shall be put out. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well advised is wisdom. So a lot of people, going back over what I was talking when I was talking about riches and wealth, a lot of people only want to be rich, to feed their ego, and because of certain pride. And a lot of people, when they get riches, they start looking down upon people and as if they better than other people, So this is why a lot of our people aren't rich, because for one, they have a lot of pride, and for two, they put all of their faith into this, into the riches, and three, the Lord knows that certain men and women don't have any business being wealthy, especially in this society today. You know, everybody doesn't handle wealth the way it's supposed to be handled. You're going to destroy a lot of people. Just look at these Christian churches. You know, they have a lot of money in these Christian churches, but what goes on? They just keep receiving and keep receiving. How many churches you actually see where they give money back to the people in their congregation? You know, you can say, well, hey, my church do that, my church do that. What do they actually do for those in their congregation? Do they actually say, well, hold on, Sister Jackson, I seen that you gave me $200. Is your light bill paid this week? They don't even ask you that. They don't even say, hey, I noticed you and your kids been coming for the past 14 Sundays straight. Your kids got school closed, school starting this week. Do they got what they need? No, hey, nobody asked that. But the Israelites, we're gonna make sure our brothers and our sisters got what they need. You and your family doing all right, but I seen you just had a baby. Hey, can I get you anything? You need some diapers and things like that. You ain't even gotta have no baby shower. You ain't gotta have none of that, because you're supposed to be in the season and the spirit and the mindset on making sure your people are got what they need. Because that's Matthew 22 and 37, 38 and verse 39. Fulfilling all of the law and the prophets, loving and looking out for your brothers and sisters. Hey, that's what Christ did. That's what the Messiah did when he was on the scene. He made sure people were healed. He didn't say, hey, hold on now, y'all taking away my time. I only got 2 more years before I'm crucified. Hey, he did what he had to do. So that's what we got to do. We got to do what we got to do. We got to do what we got to do for our brothers and our sisters, even those that do wrong by us. Because Yahushua did the same thing. And he didn't hit Judas in the face. He didn't say, hey, we got to duke it out because you about to give me up. You about to lie on me. You about to snitch on me. He did what he had to do, And he said, hey, this has got to be done so I can be delivered up, So you got to look at the same thing, say, hey, this has got to be done so I can increase my faith, so I can really believe in what I haven't seen yet. Somebody lying on you, this has got to be done. You got to glorify the Most High. You got to get to that season where you glorify the Lord for your job taking away hours from you. You got to get to the point where you glorifying the Lord for your spouse acting the way they acting. You got to get to a season where you glorifying the Lord when your brother and your congregation doing wicked towards you, or whatever the case may be, So I'm gonna read this moment. I'm gonna go down Proverbs 13 and 11. Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. So if the Lord allow you to be rich by your labor, hey, all praise to the Most High. But if it didn't come by labor, so hey, don't expect to have the mindset of oh, I earned this, I got this. Because even if you getting things by wickedness, that ain't even the way it's supposed to be. If you got rich by selling dope, if you got rich by being a stripper, if you got rich by uh showing your body, a woman showing her body OnlyFans and things like that, that's not even something you're supposed to have. The Lord don't even want you to have that money, because it ain't the way it's supposed to have been done in righteousness. You want to serve the Lord one way, but when it comes to your personal life, you paying your light bill, you taking care of your kids, you think the Lord got to be sensitive to that now. The Lord ain't got to be sensitive to that. He gonna make sure your children don't eat, and he gonna make sure you don't eat. He gonna make sure all y'all get put to death, because it came by wickedness. It came by deceiving others. A woman deceived a man, then allow a man to sin, and then a man he sinned. So everything is destruction. Everything got to get torn down. As the title is, you in the season of growth, or you in the season of destruction. You know. So let's go to Proverbs chapter 4 right quick. Through the Spirit, Proverbs chapter 4. And we're gonna start at verse 18. Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 18. And it reads, but the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. So if you're doing what you're going to do, your future is brighter than you ever known, everything you ever will ever know. you know you may not see it now, you may see a little glimpse, like you see a car coming down the road, you can kind of see a little light. That's how your future is if you keeping these laws, statutes, commandments, if you moving in the spirit of righteousness, if you constantly praying, if you constantly fasting, if you constantly having mercy towards others, if you constantly forgiving others, if you constantly holding on to other secrets. You can expose somebody right now, but you ain't gonna do them like that. You're gonna say, well, I'm gonna just pray instead. I'm gonna fast for them instead. Because you in a season and you in a time where you know what's coming, and you know what's down the road, whether it's 5 years, whether it's 2 years, or whether it's 6 months, regardless of how long it take, you gonna continue to do what you got to do and glorify the Lord. Verse 19, the way of the wicked is as darkness, they know not at what they stumble. Because you don't see, you're losing your wisdom, you're losing your knowledge, you're losing your understanding day by day. As the days continue to draw nigh and nigh, you still losing faith, you're losing hope. You ain't even thinking about the precepts no more, you ain't thinking about the Lord no more. Because you in so much darkness. you know you once repented every day from anything that you felt like you done wrong, and for things that you didn't think you did wrong. But now you only repent once a week, you know. So you got to get in the mindset of, I got to watch myself. I got to make sure I'm in a season of consistent growth, because you don't know how much consistent destruction you was in, you know. Verse 20, Proverbs 4 and 20, my son, attend to my words, incline thy ear unto my sayings. So we can't just incline our ear and our spirit only when we want to. We got to do it every day. We got to continue to hit that mark, continue to meet those needs to the best of our ability. Verse 21, let them not depart from thine eyes, keep them in the midst of thine heart, for they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. As we know in St. John 6 and 63, the Lord said, the flesh profited nothing, but the spirit quickened it. The spirit is the most important thing. So the Lord said, even your flesh is going to be on the terms of being well off, you know, because the Lord can, he can allow your flesh to get stronger, or he can allow your flesh to get weak, because he said the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak. So next thing you know, your spirit's so strong, now your spirit is bringing your flesh down, and your spirit is telling your flesh, no, you submit to me now, because we're gonna serve the Lord. Or else you got people that have their flesh saying, nah, we're gonna break these laws, statutes, commandments, And if you ever been in the spirit, experience the Holy Spirit to where, you know, when you find yourself about to go off or you find yourself about to do something wrong, your spirit say, "Get thee behind me, Satan." You know, how many people are in that spirit? You know, because I haven't seen it, I don't witnessed it. You know, "Get thee behind me, Satan." You know, you cutting that spirit down quick. You know, so reading on, verse 23. Proverbs 4:23, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. So you got to watch how you thinking about certain things. This is why it's important to watch what you're watching, to be in observation, not to just watch anything and not to just listen to anything. Because if you're in a season of being very sensitive and your spirit not at where it's supposed to be at, you shouldn't be going around, those that want to party. You shouldn't be going around those that just do any and everything, because you should be already be in a place where you can say, where my faith ain't where it should be at, my spirit ain't where it should be at. So if you constantly keep going to the same places and doing the same things, you're gonna fold eventually, because you ain't in a season where you are strong enough to fight and cut down all of those things, as we supposed to have the armor of salvation on, armor of believing, armor of having faith, armor of watching and looking towards the Lord returning, armor of, building our spouses up, the armor of, making sure our children got everything they need. Some people in a season, where they just let their children do any and everything, because they don't have the strength to discipline their children. They don't have all of the spiritual wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that they need to build their children up. Because they just let their day go by, let their months go by, let their years go by, where they not building themselves up with the Lord, with the word. Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 24. Put away from thee a forward mouth and perverse lips, but sluggy. Reading this one more time. Proverbs 4 and 24. Put away from thee a forward mouth and perverse lips put far from thee. So a lot of people are in a season where they just say any and everything and just just let it all out. They don't know how to contain their mouth. They don't know how to contain their spirit. And like the Lord said, a lot of people have a spirit where they don't have any walls. So any and everything can come in and attack, tear it down, destroy it, and they just ain't got no protection. They ain't got no hedge. You don't want to be like that. Proverbs 4:25. Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. Hey, so don't look to the left and don't look to the right. Even like it says in Second Esdras, you know, when you trying to go to the kingdom of heaven, you got water on one side, you got fire on the other side, and it's as a path as if only one man can travel. It ain't easy getting to the kingdom of heaven. You got to be straight up. You got to keep it real. So if you know it ain't an easy walk to get to the kingdom of heaven, you should have your life more well predicated on standards, morals, limits, you know, and stepping on eggshells, because you can't just do what you want to do all the time. You know, one year you want to follow the Lord, you want to be on fire for the Lord, you want to be a man of God, you want to be a woman of God, and then the next year you just fell off. You don't know what happened. You don't know what went wrong. Man, I don't know, man. I met this woman. I just went through hell, man. But how did you get there in the first place? You just kind of just went on by the days and didn't have no plan, didn't have no blueprint. We can't have seasons like this where one year we on fire. Brothers putting up videos, brothers on fire for the Lord, brothers is fasting every week, brothers is getting their house in order. You taking care of your children, you doing all you got to do for your children, you teaching your children, you teaching your wife, you putting up videos, you going to camp, you doing all you got to do. And in the next year, man, I don't know what happened, man. I got cancer, I caught COVID, I caught a virus, I caught the flu, my ankle was hurting, my back was hurting, They let me go from my job. Hey, that ain't no excuse. Hey, look at all the prophets that got bored alive. They got their head chopped off. Hey, look at the men that actually, when they committed adultery, the Lord killed their child. Did King David have an excuse when he went before Bathsheba and the Lord killed that child? He's man, I can't be the king no more, man. I done fell off, man. Hey, let's bring somebody else in. No, you gotta keep fighting. The kingdom of heaven is for those who are willing to endure, who are willing to get up and keep fighting. Yeah, you lost your job. Yeah, you got divorced. Yeah, your woman cheated on you. Yeah, hey, your kids, they just doing wicked, just embarrassing you. But you keep moving, man. You keep going. Even if you got breast cancer, you keep going. Because you don't know what the Lord is trying to get out of this. We can't always think it's only about us. It's not about us, man. It's about the Most High. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. So if he want to give me lung cancer, hey, it's of the Lord, And I'm gonna keep this thing rolling. I'm gonna keep magnifying the Most High. Whether I do videos, whether I go in the corners, whether I teach my wife, whether I teach my kids, whether I make sure brothers on the job kind of getting, Bible verses here and there and kind of just feeding them, whether I'm putting precepts up, whatever I got to do to glorify and magnify the Lord. If the Lord want to test me, and he gonna test me, but I ain't gonna let no excuse come in and say this is why I stopped glorifying the Lord. Because every time I open my mouth, I gotta glorify the Lord. Every time you open your mouth, you gotta glorify the Lord. Every time you give, you gotta glorify the Lord. The days of us thinking, oh, we doing this to get views, or we doing this to be seen, or we doing this just for this and this. No, that ain't it. Because there's gonna come a day when internet is gone. It's gonna come a day when you can't send the money on Cash App. It's gonna come a day when you can't go across town and ship nothing to somebody. It's gonna be you and the Heavenly Father. So what you gonna do then? Ain't nobody watching then. So how you gonna move then? You only doing stuff because you have glorification now, because somebody can say, oh brother, I like how you do that. Oh sister, I like how you do that. We can't do this stuff just to be getting attention, because that ain't no faith. You got to do the same thing when you cut the lights off, when you cut the live off, when you cut the internet off, when you at work, when you behind closed doors, when you by yourself. You got to be in a season where you growing your relationship with the Lord, because you take a day off with growing, you take a week off, you take a month off, you take a year off. You don't know what the spiritual demon Satan trying to get out of there. And he might bring some more spirits. Next thing you know, it's 500 spirits leeching onto you. And you trying to figure out why you ain't in the same year you was when you was last year, when the year before that, and you just trying to go on your phone and look at the memories. Man, I was on fire that year. Man, I was making garments that year. Man, I was helping people out that year. But you wasn't trying to grow. You wasn't trying to build yourself up. You wasn't trying to strengthen your faith. You wasn't trying to strengthen everything that needs to be strengthened. So I'm gonna go down to verse 26, Proverbs 4:26. Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all the ways, and let all thy ways be established. So you want to establish yourself, have your foundation rooted, grounded, and anchored in a sure foundation of the Lord, and not of attention, flesh, self-glory, none of that. Proverbs 4:27. Turn not to the right hand nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. So that's what this thing is about. Removing our foot from evil, So let me get this right quick. I'm gonna kind of try to speed this thing up, because we gotta prepare for new moon. Do the spirit and probably shot the 9th month. So let's go to Proverbs chapter 10, and I'm gonna start at verse 29. And it reads, Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 29. The way of the Lord is strength to the upright. So the Lord can strengthen you if you want to move in his ways. The moment you start to move in your own ways is when you lose strength. You start coming with your own motives in your mind. I don't want to do this no more because somebody's saying something about this. Somebody's saying something about this. I don't want people to think this of me. I don't want people to think that of me. You moving in your own strength now. But once you continue to move according to what the Lord says does, you know, Proverbs 10:29, the way of the Lord is strength to the upright, but destruction shall be to the workers of iniquity. you know. Verse 30, Proverbs 10:30. The righteous shall never be removed. So the Lord said those that's doing right ain't never gonna be removed. It don't matter if you got cancer. It don't matter if you got a brain tumor. It don't matter if you got cerebral palsy. It don't matter if you got kidney stones. It don't matter if you got bronchitis. It don't matter if you got the flu. You ain't never gonna be removed because you always trying to meet the needs that the Lord want to be met. You know, Reading it again, Proverbs 10:30. The righteous shall never be removed, but the wicked shall not inhabit the earth. You see that? So the Lord gonna make sure you cut off. The Lord is gonna make sure you are cut off. So let me get Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 5 right quick. Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 5, and it reads, and now go to, I would tell you what I would do to my vineyard. I would take away the heads thereof. So the Lord, it's a lot of things that the Lord can take away. The Lord may have a certain hedge round about you to protect you, to keep you in good standing points, But the Lord can take that away. The Lord can take that protection away. The Lord can tell that angel to depart from you. The angel could be there to protect you from all type of um stuff that the enemy trying to do, spiritual demon Satan. But if the Lord take their hedge away, ain't no telling what's gonna happen. You know, it can be your health, it can be your finances. You can experience such things that Tobit experienced. You may be a housewife, and your husband, he may be the one solely providing for everything. What if the Lord take away that hedge? Now that man gets struck with a disease, he can't work no more, and then that woman got to go out and work. This is why it's important for women not to get comfortable as well, because the Lord can take away their hedge. The Lord can take away a hedge to where the roles got to be reversed and pain is issued in your house, or the Lord could put a disease on your child, or the Lord can smite everything in your house, Isaiah 5:5. And now go to, I would tell you what I would do to my vineyard. And the house of Israel is the vineyard. The so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans is the vineyard, and it's going to explain that as we read down. And it shall be eaten up and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down, and I will lay it waste. It shall not be pruned nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. So if the Lord take away the hedge, if the Lord tell those angels, those protective angels, to draw back, thorns and thorns and briars can come up now, which can be synonymous for other wicked spirits. Now you got homosexual spirits coming in. Now you got pornography spirits coming in. Now you got masturbating spirits coming in. Now you got covetous spirits coming in. Now you got drug addicted spirits coming in. Now you got gambling spirits coming in. You once trusted the Lord with your money. Now you don't even trust the Lord with nothing no more. I will also command the clouds that they rain upon it. So the Lord ain't even got to rain upon your vineyard. You once got all of the spiritual rain that you needed, but the Lord can cause a drought to come in. And this is, it's also for those that don't want to read, those that don't want to pray, those don't want to keep themselves in subjection to what the Lord commanded us to do. Because the Lord said, Revelation 1:3, blessed is the man that read it. So now, you only read, when somebody says something to you, or whenever you feel like you got trouble all around you. So now the Lord is sending a drought. Now you ain't thinking about no Bibles. Now you ain't thinking about no books. Now you ain't thinking about nothing. All you thinking about is stuff that goes on in the world with the celebrities and with the presidents and what's going on in the latest TV shows, it's like Isaiah 5:7. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the man of Judah his pleasant plant, and he looketh for judgment. But behold, oppression for righteousness, but behold a cry, you know. So a lot of things that you look for, it could be the opposite of that. And the Lord can do that to you. So you got to being aware of what season you in, what spirit you in. So let's go to Jeremiah 8:18 right quick. And I'm gonna start at verse 7. Jeremiah 18:7. I'm gonna start at verse 6. Now, when you read up in this chapter, it goes so like it goes into the Lord appointing Jeremiah to go be in awareness of a potter who's in control, you know, the potter being in control of the clay. So this is Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 6. O house of Israel, cannot I do with you as this potter, said the Lord Yahweh? Behold, as the clay is in the potter's hand, so are ye in my hand, O house of Israel. So the Lord, he got total control of everything. The Lord got control of your children. The Lord got control of your wife. The Lord got control of, if you're a wife, your husband. The Lord got control of your job. The Lord got control of your health. The Lord got control of your mind. The Lord got control of your peace. The Lord got control of your vehicles. The Lord got control of your house. He can cause your house to burn on fire, to catch on fire. The Lord can cause, he got control of if somebody can come in and break in your house and try to rape your woman and not. The Lord got total control of that. Hey, this is why in Sirach it says a man that doesn't uphold himself, the Lord can overthrow that man's house. And that house is also your wisdom, your knowledge, your understanding, your peace. So see and observe what season you in. Are you in a season that's fighting to stay in the spirit? Are you in a season to fight to serve the Lord? Are you in a season to just do whatever it is you want to do? You have to be an observation of that. Jeremiah 18 and verse 7. At what instant I shall speak concerning a nation and concerning a kingdom, to pluck up and to pull down and to destroy it. So the Lord, he got all power to raise up Yasharallah, which is Israel, the prince that has power with the most high God power. Any moment the Lord can raise up the nation of Israel right now, put all of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in rulership at the snap of his fingers, if he want to. And he also can keep us in captivity if he want to, you know. So we got to look at this like we serve a power, the most high creator of the heavens and earth, who can do anything and everything, and ain't nothing to be played with, you know. Reading one more time, Jeremiah 18 and 8. If that nation against whom I have pronounced turn from their evil. So, like, I'm gonna go back to verse 7, Jeremiah 18 and 7. At what instant I said, he said, at what instant? You got some instant grits, put that water in there, put some heat to it. Hey, it's ready. So the Lord said, at what instant, Jeremiah 18 and 7, I shall speak concerning the nation and concerning the kingdom, to pluck up and to pull down and to destroy it. Jeremiah 18 and 8. If that nation against whom I have pronounced turn from their evil, I will repent of the evil that I thought to do unto them. See that the Lord, he can take back all of these curses. The Lord could put so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans on top if he want to. The Lord can do what he want to do. So I'm gonna go to Second Edges right quick through the Spirit. Second Edges chapter 14, and I'm gonna start at verse 13. Second Edges chapter 14, I'm gonna start at verse 13, and it reads, now therefore set thine house in order and reprove thy people, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. So the Lord, through the Spirit and power of Ezra, told us to set our house in order. Even in the days of old, and we can look at this as now for reality, setting our house in order, getting our spirit in order, getting our mind in order, If you're courting, getting your courtship in order. If you're married, get your marriage in order. You know, if you're divorced, get yourself in order to where you can be submissive to the Lord. You know, if you're a widow, have your widowhood in order. You know, if you are an abandoned child, a submit to the Lord and look to Him to father you, to mother you. You know, if you cast it off, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which is our mother as well, come back to the Lord, reconcile. You know, verse 14, second Edges 14 and 14, let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature. So a lot of things that once was weak, we got to strengthen that. You know, how we set our days, how we set our mornings, how we set our weeks. You know, we can't just go with the wind. You know, and anytime something bad happens, we just, oh man, you know, I can't never get right. We can't use that as an excuse. We got to get stronger in this thing. We got to get stronger day by day. Because, hey, best believe these days that are coming, they only don't, those only gonna survive in those days are those who are strong, who are fighting, those who are enduring. You know, if you ain't got no endurance, these days that are coming are gonna wipe out the weak. You know, the weakest link. You know, so you don't want to be weak when these days approach your doorstep. When famine comes to your doorstep, you know, you don't want to fast now. You know, so when these days approach, when you can't even find a can of corned beef or viennas, you know, you're gonna be weak in that day because you didn't give yourself a a standard to say, hey, even though I got the luxury of just eating what I want to eat, you know, hey, I'm a strengthen my spirit and say I need to strengthen my spirit because hey, in Matthew chapter 4, the Lord said, hey, you don't have to always live off bread, but you should be living off this word as well, you know. So you should be fasting, you know. You should be meditating on things that the Lord wants us to meditate on. Don't wait till when something bad happens, you trying to come and meditate now, you know. Because is it sincerity that you serve the Lord? Is it sincere that you really care about the Lord? You know. So we gotta see what season we moving in. Are we moving in the season of comfortability? Are we moving in the season of cautious? You very cautious? You know, are you moving in the season of, you know, you just do what you want to do? Are you moving in the season of being prepared for the second coming of our King, the righteous? You know. So let me go to Second Edges 8 right quick. Second Edges chapter 8, and I'm gonna start at verse 40. Second Edges chapter 8 in the Apocrypha, and I like always say, if you don't have your Apocrypha, you know, make sure you get your Apocrypha. You know, go to Barnes and Noble, you know, Amazon if you don't got one. You know, Second Edges chapter 8, and I'm gonna start at verse 40. And it reads, like as I have spoken now, so shall it come to pass. For as the husbandman soweth much seed upon the ground and planted many trees, and yet the thing that is sown good in his season cometh not up, neither do all that is planted take root. You know, so everything that you're doing, you may not see any results from it, you know. But does that mean you gotta stop? Does that mean you gotta quit? Does that mean you gotta stop doing whatever it is you're doing? No, that doesn't mean that. Read it on. Even so is it of them that are sown in the world, they shall not all be saved. So so even those that are sown in the world, they just somehow don't want to draw away and remove themselves from the world. The Lord said, hey, they ain't gonna make it. They ain't gonna make it, you know. Cause hey, you gotta learn when it's time to leave, and you gotta learn when it's time to cut the cord, you know. Cause some people that leave, they don't cut the cord. They just leave and they come back. But you gotta learn how to cut the cord as well. So you don't come back. I don't want nothing to do with the world, you know, because you don't want to be lukewarm. Somebody that's kind of in the world and they kind of in the truth. Somebody just kind of want to serve the Lord one day and the next day they just doing whatever it is they want to do, you know. So you got to learn when, hey, I don't want nothing to do with that. You know, you got to have that mindset. And it's a lot of men they don't want to instruct their house as well. They want all these wives. They want a Proverbs 31 woman, but they don't want to submit themselves to the Lord. You know, you got to be aware of what season you in. You in a season where you just want to take all of these things upon your belt, but you ain't prepared for none of them. You know, you don't know what it's gonna take. Let me get this in Proverbs right quick. So like, let me get this in Luke. You don't know what it's gonna take to have to lose sleep, to study, to get your spirit right, to make sure this woman has everything that she needs. So you may be in a season of, hey, you just want to do whatever it is that looks good to you. Take upon you whatever it is that looks good, and that's not a wise thing to do. Luke chapter 14. I'm gonna start at verse 27. Luke 14 and verse 27, and it reads, and whatsoever, it's like Luke 14 and 27, and whosoever doeth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. So you gotta carry all of the burdens that you carrying and that you're supposed to carry. You know, you trying to act like you got it all figured out. Hey, man, listen. Hey, it's okay to not always have everything figured out. Sometimes you gotta admit, man, I ain't got it yet, but I'm gonna get it. I'm trying to get it. You know, you need to admit to the fact you ain't ready to be no husband. You need to admit to the fact that you ain't built yet to be no husband. You need to admit to the fact that you're not in the season to be a submissive woman. What season are you in? You trying to put yourself in a season where you don't belong there. You don't have the qualifications to stay consistent in that season. Going down to verse 28, Luke 14 and 28, and it reads, for which of you intending to build a tower? So you trying to build a tower that you don't have the tools to build that tower with. You may came up to this tower with boots and a hard hat. You ain't got no tools. You was looking for other people to give you the tools. But other people can't give you everything all the time. You got to prepare for yourself. You know, for which of you, Luke 14 and 28, for which of you intended to build a tower, sit it not down first. So some men need to sit down first. Some women need to sit down first and say, do I got what I need? Let me pray and fast and see if I have everything I need. Because a lot of men and women are prideful. They're proud and try to deceive themselves and thinking they have what I need. Okay, I look good. Okay, I know how to get fresh. I know how to dress. Okay, I got a little game. Okay, I look decent. Got me a decent job. Okay, all right. I'm ready. I got it. No, you got to sit down and really think about certain things, man. Think about what it's really going to take for you to get the kingdom of heaven. Think about what it's really going to take for you to try to lead as a man others to the kingdom of heaven. Think about what it's really going to take for you to hold on with what you got and still do what you got to do for others without decreasing and taking away from what you got. That's the mindset that you got to have. You know, you got to hold on, you got to be strong, and you got to serve the Lord when all eyes is even against you. For your first year, your second year, your third year, your fourth year, you still holding on, you still keeping faith, you still believing, you still trusting, you taking beatings, you getting back up, you doing what you got to do. That takes a lot. Stop thinking that you can do everything when you ain't even sat down and counted the cost yet. You ain't sat down and see how much sleep you got to lose to study, to go over your notes, to go over your blueprint. Okay, what else I need once I get to this point? If I get to that point, what will I need then? Will I lose something? Will I have to give up something? Some people don't want to give up stuff. They try to hold on. I can't get that up. I gotta hold. I gotta do this. I can't get this up. This too good. I can't do that. You can't hold on to everything when you following the Lord. When you serving the Lord, you cannot hold on to everything when you come before the Lord. You ain't coming before your mama. You ain't coming before your boss man on your job. You coming before the righteous. So it's gonna be some specs on you that they're gonna say, you gotta let that go. You gotta let that go. Take that away. You're gonna be like, oh man, I can't do this. I ain't think it was gonna be like this. And now you stuck in a predicament because you like, dang, I didn't know it was gonna be like this. You knew it was gonna be like that. You just didn't want to believe it was gonna be like that. You didn't want to own up to the reality. You didn't want to be an adult. You didn't want to prepare. Part of being an adult is preparing yourself. Part of being a man of the Lord is realizing that it ain't gonna feel good, it ain't gonna sound good, it ain't gonna taste good, it ain't gonna be what you want it to be. It ain't gonna go how you wanted to go. Part of being a husband, hey, you gotta look out what you gotta look out for when all eyes is against you. You gotta pay them bills, man. You gotta put food on the table. You gotta hit every mark. You gotta make sure that household is in the spirit. You gotta make sure your household praying, because if not, the Lord gonna judge you. He gonna smite you. And then you gonna start realizing, dang, I ain't think this was gonna be like this. This is a little rough. These men that serve the Lord that we read about in these prophets, you don't think they felt certain things? You don't think they felt a certain way? Stop thinking that you got what it takes all the time. Certain things ain't just for you, man. It ain't just for you to do. Proverbs 14:28. For which of you intending to build a tower, sit it not down first and counted the cost? So you got to count the cost to see if you are willing to do whatever it is that you got to do. And it's certain things you're going to have to do that you may not think about when you think you're ready for. You got to count the cost. What if you had to actually put your life on the line, actually give up your life? You got to think about things like that. You can say, hey, when you good in the spirit, you mighty in the spirit, you may say, I'll be able to do it. But what if the Lord actually told you you had to die for people that always hate you, that always speak evil of you? Then answer that question. When that person doing evil towards you, you gotta die for that person. And you thinking, it's like saying she can't hear. It's like, can you hear now? Let me know if you can hear me now. Put a 1 up if you can hear me. I don't know if my connection bad or what. Lord willing, something, everything is working out though through the spirit. You got to make sure you count the cost and understand if you willing to do that, you got what it takes to do that. So we got to be in the spirit of preparing for whatever it is that we looking for. If I want to teach the word, I got to make sure I'm preparing myself to teach. I can't just teach just because I want to, get views. I can't just teach because I want to, be at the top. I got to be able to study. I got to be able to forsake my flesh. I got to be able to be patient with people. I got to be able to come down to, others' levels, just because I'm up here and I'm in the spirit. How am I going to respond to people that ain't in the spirit? If you a man that desire to have a woman, how you gonna move when this woman, she's on her period, she's emotional? How are you gonna act when this woman, she's sick, she can't provide for herself. Are you willing to pay this woman bills? You know, because once you take on a woman as your wife, listen, it's a lot of responsibilities. You know, and then more so, marriage is predicated on you bringing forth another life. So if you don't want to have no children, are you really trying to do the will of the Father? You know, or you trying to do your will? You know, but we understand that Paul, First Corinthians chapter 7, we can go precept upon precept. Taking a woman, so you don't burn in your lust, but it's more than just your lust. You know, y'all trying to be together in World War III. Y'all trying to be together when the second coming of Yahweh Shah Hamashiach is pulling up. You know, are you gonna be lusting and freaking off and having sex when missiles is dropping? You got to make sure this woman, she has faith. She's strong. She's zealous for the Lord. You got to make sure this woman is on fire for the Lord. Because what if you die? That woman's still gonna be on the earth. And the same for a man. What if that man? What if that woman dies and you still on the earth? You know. So it's a lot that goes into counting the cost. Proverbs 14:28. For which of you intending to build a tower, sit it not down first and counted the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it. So this thing is about observing and seeing what season you in, so you can grow. Are you in a season of destruction, or are you in a season of growth? Trying to elevate. So let's go to Proverbs right quick. Salaki, let's go to Tobit. We're gonna get another account, and then we're gonna kind of wind down. So this is Tobit chapter 9. Then Tobias called Raphael and said unto him, Brother Azarias, take thee a servant and 2 camels, and go to Rages of Media to Gable, and bring me the money, and bring him to the wedding. For Raguel had sworn that I should not depart. But my father counted the days, and if I tarry long, he will be very sorry. So Tobit had his house set up in a way where everybody wasn't just doing what they wanted to do. They was moving in order. They was moving in the will of the Heavenly Father to please the Heavenly Father. Verse Tobit 9:5. So Raphael went out and lodged with Gabriel, and gave him the handwriting, who brought forth bags which were sealed up, and gave them to him. And early in the morning they went forth both together, and came to the wedding, and Tobias blessed his wife. So he made sure, Tobit made sure his son always was ready for whatever needed to be done. So he was ready to be a husband. you know he was ready to keep the order of his father, to carry out and carry forth do the order of his father. you know and his mother was also in the spirit of making sure, he was predicated on being taught how he's supposed to be taught too, because the women got to teach the children too. So going down, just going over a little account. Tobit chapter 10. Tobit chapter 10 and verse 1. Now Tobit his father counted every day, and when the days of the journey were expired, and they came not. Because they didn't have no phone back in those days. You couldn't just send a message. You couldn't just call. So when he went out and sent his son out to do certain tasks, he was counting the days and seeing where he should have been back by now. He should have did this. He should have did that. So let's see on what happened. Tobit 10:2. Then Tobit said, Are they detained, or is Gabriel dead, and there is no man to give him the money? Therefore he was very sorry. Then his wife said unto him, now Tobit's wife is Anna. If you read the book of Tobit, you're going to how things is set up in the house and who's in the house. Then Tobit 10:4. Then his wife said unto him, My son is dead. So let me read this again. Tobit 10:4. Then his wife said unto him, My son is dead. So you may have a man that's on fire and a woman that's on fire in the same house, but when certain things happen, one of the other may lose faith. One of the other may draw short. So in that case, then somebody got to stay strong. Somebody gotta continue to have faith. Somebody got to continue to hold on, you know, or else both of y'all are gonna wax worse. Both of y'all are gonna have no faith. Both of y'all are gonna just be, in doubt. Tobit 10:4. This is why it's important if you're in a relationship, if you're in a marriage, y'all both should be on the same page. Y'all both should be growing in the faith together. Both of y'all both going before the Most High together. Not one person got faith and then the other person don't got no faith. One person on fire and the other person not on fire. Because if that's the case, then when something happened, how both of y'all gonna be able to hold one another up? So Tobit was about to hold his wife up. Tobit chapter 10 and verse 4. Then his wife said unto him, my son is dead. So Anna thought her son was dead, seeing he stayed long. And she began to bewail him and said, now I care for nothing, my son, since I have let thee go, the light of my eyes. To whom Tobit said, hold thy peace. So Tobit was like, hey, hold your peace. Meaning another word for holding your peace is another way of saying, hey, be quiet. To whom Tobit said, hold thy peace, take no care, for he is safe. So he was confident, man. When all odds was against them, when they didn't know what was going on, when they didn't have the assurance, somebody in that marriage was like, hold on now, be quiet. Hey, our son is all right. The Lord is going to protect that boy, Verse 7, Tobit 10:7. But she said, hold thy peace and deceive me not. So she said, you be quiet and don't deceive me. So now you got things happening now. Just picture this. Hey, so if you need to figure out where you at in your marriage, go to the book, man. Go to the accounts, because the Lord said the word was written for our learning. So we should be able to go to the word to be able to figure out, okay, hold on, what did my forefathers and my foremothers do when they didn't come to an agreement in their marriage? So reading this again, Tobit 10:7. But she said, hold thy peace and deceive me not. My son is dead. So she was in doubt. She said, my son is dead. And she went out every day into the way which they went, and did eat no meat on the daytime, and ceased not whole nights to bewail her son Tobias, until the 14 days of the wedding were expired, which Raguel had sworn that he should spend there. Then Tobias, so their son was marrying a woman, and the woman's father was holding a feast. So that's the reason why he wasn't coming back at the time that his mother and father thought he should come back. Then Tobias said to Raguel, let me go, for my father and my mother look no more to see me. So he was telling him, hey, I got my mom and dad looking for me. Verse 8, Tobit 10:8. But his father-in-law said unto him, tarry with me, and I will send to thy father, and they shall declare unto him now. It's like, and they shall declare unto him how things go with thee. But Tobias said, no, but let me go to my father. Then Raguel arose and gave him Sarah his wife. Because in the ancient days, it was appointed for a man to be able to marry his daughter, or else, she would be shunned upon, looked at upon for not having children, because that's how our foremothers and our heritage was. We knew we were supposed to multiply and bring souls back to the Most High, and allow our children to reverence and honor and respect the Most High as upbringing them. And this was a way that we can keep the Lord's commandments, as in Genesis 3rd chapter. Then Raguel arose, Tobit 10:10. Then Raguel arose and gave him Sarah his wife, and half his goods, servants and cattle and money. So, this is a mighty chapter to read through the spirit. I ain't gonna read all of it, but just to show you that such things go on, that we got to make sure we in a season of growing, because when things happen, you know, and hit the fan, it may try to bring us down because we wasn't growing, we wasn't building up, we wasn't getting stronger, you know. So Tobit, hey, he was a man that had faith, and he kept the faith, you know. So he made sure he upheld his wife, and then let her know that, hey, you got to be confident, you got to continue to keep faith, you know. So when you read the rest of Tobit, you would see that their son went back, and they was in a spirit of rejoicing, because you know they was in doubt. So let's go to real quick. Let's go to Sirach chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 3. We're gonna get a couple more, and then we're gonna wind down. Sirach chapter 3 and verse 3. And it reads, whoso honoreth his father maketh an atonement for his sins, and he that honoreth his mother is as one that laid up treasure. So if you're a child, you want to be in a season of a continuous of honor your mother, your father, you know, so it can benefit you when you get older, you know. Don't be in a season where you just doing whatever it is you want to do, because it can catch up to you, you know. Verse 5, Sirach, Ecclesiasticus chapter 3, verse 5. Sirach chapter 3, verse 5. Whoso honored his father shall have joy of his own children. So it was going to come a time, as you read more in Tobit, the next chapter and the next chapter, you will see that he had children with that woman that he married, you know. So the Lord said, whoso honored his father shall have joy of his own children. And when he make it his prayer, he shall be heard. Versus those that didn't honor their father and their mother, and when they get children, you know, they just don't they don't even go around their parents anymore. They don't even do what they got to do with their parents anymore. You know, so they children grow up but not even being around their grandparents. You know, we understand that some cases, you know, are different for us. You know, some cases, you know, our parents, they're not in the truth, they don't keep the law, statutes, commandments, and things like that. But more so on the righteous scale, you don't want to burn a bridge where you was evil towards your parents, and then now you get children, you know, now it's kind of weird, you know. Now your children don't know about their grandparents because you burnt the bridge, and because you was being wicked towards your parents, you know. Verse 6, Sirach 3 and 6. He that honoreth his father shall have a long life, and he that is obedient unto the Lord shall be a comfort to his mother. He that feareth the Lord will honor his father, and will do service unto his parents as to his masters. You see that? So the more you love the Lord, the more you're gonna be, you know, respectful of your mother and your father as well, you know. So let me get Sirach chapter 16 right quick. Sirach chapter 16, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. And it reads, desire not a multitude of unprofitable children, neither delight in ungodly sons. You see that? So you shouldn't want to just take upon women that just don't even fear and respect and honor the Lord, you know. And you got Solomon to look after as an account that you can learn from. You know, his women, his women was of heathen women. They was heathen women. So they served their gods. You know, they did what they wanted to do. You know, so when he came forth to have children, I'm pretty sure them children couldn't speak Paleo Hebrew. You know, they was trying to say the Lord name in their Chinese language, their Moabite language, their Japanese language, you know. So the Lord said, Sirach 16 and 1, desire not a multitude of unprofitable children, neither delight in ungodly sons. So you want to just have all of these women that don't even want to serve the Lord. That's going to be a hindrance. That's going to be a stumbling block. So you should only want to deal with a woman if you're a man predicated upon you laying the foundation down. As soon as y'all get to know each other, you should let them know, hey, I want to serve the Lord. You know, you want to be about this or not. And then if it's not going the way, hey, y'all can cut the cord. Y'all don't have any attachments. But don't wait till you get attached and then say, oh, I want to serve the Lord. I want to be a mighty man. I want to teach my children the commandments. I want them to follow the Lord. And the next thing she do, she want to go out to the club all the time at nights. And now you home taking care of the children. She come home drunk. That ain't the way it's supposed to be. You know, you're supposed to have things in a season of building. Don't build and then tear down. And now you like, man, I don't know what happened. You know, so hey, don't put step 5 where step 1's supposed to be. You step 1, step 1.5, step 2, step 2.5, and you constantly growing. Stop thinking you can get to step 10 in 1 year. You know, it's a season. It takes time to grow. It takes time for you try to get your woman on the level you on. Don't think you can get that woman there in 1 year. You know, Women have emotions, feelings. They're weaker than a man. So you got to be as wise to say, well, I got to take this thing slow. You know, I got to make sure she knows that the Lord is coming back. She's in a mindset and the spirit on knowing this, and we not just doing everything. And if you're a woman, and if your man don't believe in the Lord, but you believe in the Lord, you got to say, okay, he in a different zone than I am. You know, I got to be patient with him. I can't just say, hey, you gotta, teach that Bible. I want you to teach this Bible. I want you to come back to the Lord. Hey, it ain't gonna move like that. You know, this is why it's important to get yourself right first, because everything ain't always gonna go how you want it. But make sure you right, because the Lord gonna get you. He gonna judge you. He gonna come back to you, not just both of y'all at one time. Because both of y'all might not be together when the Lord come back. One may be alive, the other may be dead. Both of y'all may be alive, but one is over here and the other is over there. And then if y'all have children, that's even more pressure on you, because now you got to explain to these children what's really going on, and they confused. They like, I don't see what's this and that's this, and one of them attached to this parent, and then the other one attached to that parent, and they just confused, and then they get older and they just jammed up. You don't want that. So the Lord is saying, don't desire a multitude of unprofitable children. Sirach 16:2. Though they multiply, rejoice not in them, except the fear of the Lord be with them. So it said, except the fear of the Lord be with them, except they want to honor and respect the Lord. You know, verse 3, Sirach 16:3. Trust not thou in their life, neither respect their multitude, for one that is just is better than 1,000. So it said, if you have one child that is just and willing to follow the Lord, willing to serve the Lord, that's better than 1,000 children. And better it is to die without children than to have them that are ungodly. You see that? So you got a lot of children out here that are atheists, that are Satanists, and you don't want that. So, hey, I'm gonna get one more Bible verse, as they like to call, one more precept, and then we're gonna wind down. So this is Isaiah chapter 26, and I'm gonna start at verse 3 through the Spirit. Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 3, and it reads, Thou would keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusted in thee. So, hey, keep your mind on the Lord. Continue to trust in the Lord, regardless if things is good, regardless if things is bad. And the Lord will make sure he do his part and keep you in perfect peace. Lord willing, this was edified. I don't count this as a light thing to do. Fisherman for Zion back on the scene. Lord willing, you keep the new moon mighty to the best of your ability. Sundown, we observing it through the spirit of Payah. It's another month, according to what the Lord has actually blessed us with, and it's many things you can read about the new moon. You can go to Psalms real quick. I'm gonna bring one precept out. Psalms 83. Psalms 83, and a lot of people they not so like Psalms 81. A lot of people not even aware of this. But if you come to the foundation of getting built up to the high holy days and the feast days, because you may not be in a season to be rooted and strong in keeping feast days and high holy days, but it takes time. It takes a process. It's a process on how we do things, because we didn't always keep the laws, statutes, commandments. I wasn't always aware of no pork, no shrimp, no crab, no lobster. I wasn't aware of, having fringes on. So build yourself up. Don't be pressured to feeling like you got to know everything in one day, in 1 year, because it's a lot that you have to come back and build up and build upon, you know, because 20 years you may have been in Christianity, 20 years you may have been in the world. So you got to say, well, I can't just expect to do all this in my first year, my second year, my third year, my fourth year, my fifth year. You want to serve the Lord truthfully with an honest heart and an honest mind, and not just for people on social media, on YouTube. You want to do this right. You want to serve the Lord right. You want to serve the Lord truthfully, and not for other people's opinion, and not just so somebody can say, well, you're not doing this right. You don't do this right. You know, that's why you should get built up and serve the Lord with an honest heart. You know, Psalms 81 and verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Israel and a law of the God power of Jacob. You know, so read Leviticus the 23rd chapter and learn about the feast days, the high holy days, and the days the Lord that actually made to be separated from any other day, you know. And with that, Lord willing, you are edified, and I hope and pray that you continue to get built up in the spirit. I hope and pray you come back to the Lord and get to a point where everybody's opinion doesn't matter. You know, you're not worried about what this camp say. You're not worried about what that camp say. You're not worried about what individual lights say. You're not worried about what YouTube got going on. You're not worried about this and that. You stand prayed up, you watching and you observing, and you making sure your spirit right. You making sure you believe and you have faith, and you're rooted, you're grounded, and you're anchored in your how by Shema Shah. You know, you're not trying to be the mightiest brother in Israel. You're not trying to be above your camp leader. You're not trying to be above an elder. You're not trying to do anything for views and likes and for attention, because that's what's jamming a lot of people up. They want to be seen, they want to be heard. But your first foundation and your first root should be for the Lord to hear your prayers, for the angels to be able to give your prayers to the Lord, and for it to be accepted. For you praying, you fasting, you know, you forsaking the flesh and the cares of this world. That's what's important. And that's what's going to help you for the evil days that's coming up. World War III, Jacob's trouble, people dying at a rapid rate than you ever seen in your life, you know. And you got to take this and put it in a box and say, this is actually real. This is actually going to happen. So I need to prepare myself. You know, I need to be in a season of consistent building and growing and elevating and having my relationship with the Lord the way it's supposed to be, and not the way others want it to be, and not how others say it's supposed to be, but how the Lord presented to my spirit. Fisherman of Zion, Brother Hosea, Fisherman of Zion, coming back. Lord willing, this is edifying, peace and blessings to you. Lord willing, you continue to stay in the spirit and fight to stay in the spirit until Satan get behind you. All praises to Yahweh, Shem Yahweh, call Yahweh, by Shema Mashak Yahweh. Shalom.